how it all went south.
All right, Jason, I was talking before at the top of the episode here about this story that has made headlines. As you mentioned, it's everywhere. Probably a lot of people hearing this episode are going to know at least a little bit about it, but I've done some of the legwork for you. If you don't feel like reading and finding all the facts online,
tell me, Sean.
Tell me, please. While on a skiing vacation in the French Alps in February of 2023, a 53-year-old French interior designer known only as Anne received an unusual message on one of her social media accounts. The woman who wrote to her identified herself as Jane Etta Pitt, the mother of one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, Brad Pitt. The two struck up a conversation, messaging back and forth until there's a lot of air quotes in this episode, so just imagine them. Until Mrs. Pitt said that her son needed a woman like Anne in his life. Anne was soon introduced to Brad Pitt online, the fake Brad Pitt, and the two chatted online through various social media apps. Anne believed after a while that she was in a full-on relationship with Brad Pitt. He was affectionate, caring, confided in her about his rough divorce to Angelina Jolie. And Anne, as hard as it was to believe at first, thought she had something real and special. The first question you might have is, how could she really think she was talking to the Brad Pitt, right?
Well, it's interesting. Well, I will say, I think I know this, and I would need to confirm, but I'm pretty sure about this. I don't think Brad Pitt is actually on social media. He's not one of those guys. So if you get the Brad_Pitt with a fake check mark or not even a check mark, he's one of those high-profile celebrities that is not like posting what he did at the beach each day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a lot of things we're going to get into in this episode. Just right off the bat, I just want to say someone like Brad Pitt that can probably have, I don't know, half the women on the planet if he really wanted to, is probably not going to social media to find a date through his mom, of all people. Mom, if you really think I should.
Mom's the wingman or the wingwoman.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
It's a good wingman to have, I guess. But if you're wondering how she thought that she was really in some long-distance relationship or online relationship, I guess, with Brad Pitt, Brad sent her numerous selfies, a lot of them. At least one image contained this guy, Brad, holding up a sign that read, "I love you, Anne." And it had to be him, right? I shared if you've got a folder open, and we'll share this with everybody who, like I say, a lot of you guys probably have seen this flash across your news feed, but take a look at some of the images that Brad Pitt sent to Anne.
I'm pulling it up now.
Yeah, this is the stuff he was sending her. There is a picture I saw that said, "I love you, Anne." I don't know where it's at, but there's one here with a heart. He was talking about wanting to marry her.
He's in the hospital all the time. What's going on with that?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. A lot of them are Brad Pitt in the hospital, which just sounds odd.
It's a sitcom.
Yeah. Brad mentioned that he needed an operation for a cancer treatment. And which explains the hospital pictures. The only issue was that, unfortunately, all of his bank accounts were frozen due to that nasty divorce with Angelina Jolie. Of course.
Yeah.
He had no way to pay for this life-saving treatment. He even had his doctor email her about the operation. So Anne gets this email from, quote-unquote, Brad Pitt's doctor saying, yeah, he really needs this is the operation that he needs. They went through the trouble, I'll say that.
Well, it's interesting that, he had his bank account frozen, but somehow he had a personal stylist and barber at the hospital because his haircut keeps changing. Right?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about those
Look
pictures,
at,
but
oh, by the way, he's got facial hair in some.
yeah.
He's clean cut in other ones. He's
Yeah.
got
How much are you at the hospital, and why are all of these pictures you're sending? Why are these selfies you're sending me from the hospital? Like, don't you walk your dog or sitting around the house? It's and I'm sure there were probably a lot more, but that she was sent. But initially, she was initially hesitant, but Anne, being head over heels and likely thinking she would be paid back when the divorce was finalized. Wired the fake actor, the fake Brad Pitt, I should say, over $855,000 to an account based in Turkey. I mean,
so you're saying there's a chance?
you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah, Jesus. Almost $900,000. Yeah, it was like 830,000 euros that she sent. And then after that, I guess she thought he was just getting the treatment. He'll get back to me when he, I don't know, when he's feeling better. In the summer of 2024, that's how long this has been now, right? This was like 18 months altogether. In the summer of 2024, Anne was flipping through a magazine and saw a picture of her long-distance lover with another woman, Ines de Ramon, his real girlfriend, right? It was at that exact moment when she knew she had been scammed. She realized soon after that those selfies sent by the fake Brad Pitt were created using AI, of course. And I've seen like people, I was looking around online and people were saying like, people were knocking those pictures. Oh, they look, I mean,
they look close enough.
They do.
To me, it's the difference in, like I said, the haircuts and the facial hair and things like that are laughable. Not that any of them don't look like it. They do look like them.
Yeah. There's my favorite one is Brad. It's in the bottom right-hand corner there where the doctor's actually performing surgery on him, and he's awake.
He's like doing a little
looking at the camera, and his hair is full. He looks like he's just having a good old time.
He's like playing peekaboo with the doctor or something.
That's my favorite. Yeah.
Mine too.
Anyway, after appearing on a TV interview about her experience in the hopes of shining light on such scams, Anne was mocked mercilessly online. She became the butt of thousands of jokes, memes, and even online bullying and harassment. Netflix France even promoted, quote, 4 films to see with Brad Pitt, in parentheses, really, for free, in a post on their X account. Even Netflix got in on it. Due to the harassment, the network that aired that interview pulled the interview off the air and off the internet. But I think it was too late, obviously, at that point. You can probably still find it, and you can certainly find screenshots of it. We've got some
I feel like
share.
Wouldn't you just crawl in a corner rather than there's shining a light, and those are, it's like there was abuse, so there was whatever. But like when you've done something just so idiotic, don't you just want to crawl in a corner and tell no one because it is so mortifyingly embarrassing? Don't you think?
Right. Well, and that's what I was going to say. As funny as the story is at first, and I mean, and it is, it's as a sane person or as somebody who's got like a healthy, whatever,
skepticism about.
Yeah. Yes. And we know what happens online and how people get it taken advantage of. But I mean, there is a sadder reality behind the curtain for this woman. Anne told a French newspaper that she was going through a divorce at the time she met the fake Brad and eventually had to be hospitalized due to severe depression after this 18-month-long scam. She also said she didn't really use social media much. She was fairly new to it. And so, she didn't really know, like I was just saying, these types of scams even exist. She probably wasn't that familiar with AI.
Okay.
So I kind of have this feeling that, on the surface, yeah, that's funny. But at the same time, I think you've got a lonely probably vulnerable woman after a divorce or going through a divorce. She's a little older. She's 53. So again, not super hip. Uses social media, but
Hey, I'm
not really.
53. I'm 53 and not socially hip. So stand back.
Hey, I'm catching up, and I'm not socially hip, but yeah.
Yeah, but
But you know what I mean. You work in a tech field of sorts. I mean, we work with technology, and you know what I mean.
but it's crossing that divide of like playing along and messaging, and then there's like
sending money,
wiring the money, the act of the money, like going to not Los Angeles, not Beverly Hills, not Hollywood, but like Turkey.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if she knew it was based in Turkey, but they found out later. But I mean, my thing is too, and I look at that amount of money. I mean, it's it's $750,000. Where are you? You're in Beverly Hills? Look, I'll give you the money, but I'm going to get on a plane and I'll hand you the check. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like we have to meet.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of the vulnerability and just kind of whatever. She was probably dealing with a lot of issues, but she said of the experience, I asked myself why they chose me to do such harm like this. I've never harmed anyone. These people deserve hell. I'll agree with her on that.
Yeah.
And I had found a little fact here. It says AI is responsible for nearly $9 million in losses from online identity theft and fraud in the U.S., according to the Federal Trade Commission. I don't know what those numbers are in France, but she's responsible for like a tenth of the amount of fraud alone in the U.S. And I can't imagine it's probably not as much in France because of the size of the country. So she could be like, 25%, 50% of the total fraud from AI.
The AI GDP or something like that, right?
Whatever. Yeah, right. I mean,
wow.
And you hear about this stuff happen so much. I mean, we've talked about there was a story in Atlanta. We've kind of briefly mentioned it before. Voice cloning. And I think McAfee. It was McAfee. It was on McAfee.com. They did a survey, and they interviewed like 7,500 people, and 1 out of 4 of those people had themselves encountered the what do you call, like, the AI voice, like fake voice, or knew someone who was as part of a scam. So 25%. And we talked about that story. I was getting to that point of the woman whose daughter called her saying, I've been kidnapped and they want ransom money, and she was freaking out. And it was an AI voice clone.
I think maybe I've shared this with you, but if not, it bears repeating. So I used a AI voice generated product as an experiment.
You did, and it was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah. I did a trailer for Atlanta Monster 2, the AI generation or something like that. I found a music track, put it behind, and then I pulled, with his consent, like later on, Payne Lindsay's voice, and I had us having a conversation back and forth about the new season of this series.
Yeah.
And I made it, and it was stunning how quick I was able to do it, how real it sounded. And I sent it to him. He's like, "Oh my God, where'd you get this? How'd you do this?" And I told him, I explained it to him, and we got a good laugh out of it. And then I waited a couple minutes, and I sent him the version where both Payne and myself are speaking in French.
Right.
And neither of us know how to speak French. Yeah. And it
sounds flawless. You shared that with me, dude, and I literally blew my mind.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't that good. I mean, like I just did this. I was like, I got 30 minutes.
Was, but it was like a year ago.
Yeah,
or something. Was. I mean, so my point is, even now, AI moves so fast, and so these kinds of scams, full circle here, like, aren't going away. They're going to get better, and they're going to get harder to detect. And the reality is, you can go now and make a video of Brad Pitt, for example,
right,
speaking, or I could do it with you, where you're speaking on a video that looks like you're filming a selfie. With AI right now, most times you're going to be able to tell, but in a year, in 2 years,
Right.
I guarantee you won't be able to tell it. You would be like, when did I record this?
Well, and also so if this woman would have said, I need to talk to you in person to verify that it's you, or we need to get on like a phone call or like a messenger call or WhatsApp call, that person could have gotten Brad Pitt's voice and not where she wouldn't have seen his face. It wouldn't have been like a FaceTime call, but you could have heard the audio.
Right.
Hey, it's Brad. And she's like, yeah, that's actually Brad. It sounds like Brad. Like that could have happened. That is a real thing that can happen right now.
Yeah, for sure. And it's cheap, and it's scary how cheap and easy it is to do right now.
Yeah, you buy credits
Yeah.
for the ability to like it synthesizes your voice, and then you just have a bed of however many clips or things you want to make, and it's credits. And you'll actually find a lot of TikTok videos that are now non-human, meaning they found another narrator, and you just write a script and you play a bunch of crap on the
Oh,
video.
yeah.
And
Those
that's all it is.
YouTube videos, there's so many of them now, and you'll notice even different creators will use these same voices. One sounds like a British, where it's very meant to be very David, what's his name?
Attenborough,
like,
yeah.
And it'll be, I'm always looking where we want to relocate eventually. So I'm always looking at like videos about towns and different places, and there's so often there's that same voice. I'm just like,
Right.
But it sounds really good. It sounds like someone, recorded it. So that's the story of Anne. I thought it was really interesting. Like I said, it is funny and we can laugh about it, but there is a sad angle of this. And what if she was 70? If that makes you feel better, instead of she was 53, what if she was 70 or 75 and it wasn't Brad Pitt, it was just whoever? Because I have a feeling that woman could have gotten scammed. I don't think it was that it was Brad Pitt. I think she was lonely. I think she was in a bad spot. And I think someone came along and gave her attention and made her feel good. And I think that's my take.
There's a lot of lonely people in the world.
Yeah, there are. And scammers prey on that. So